Welcome, everyone. Here is my time period one brief review for 1491 to 1607 for our American history advanced placement exam. So let us begin. Here is the key theme from the College Board curriculum on a North American continent controlled by American Indians. Contact among the peoples of Europe, the Americas, and West Africa created a new world. And as we go through this, I'll go through each of the key concepts. So let's start here. I don't have much of a timeline for you, but remember the course begins with anything before 1491, which is considering anything that happened before Christopher Columbus arrived in the New World. This Treaty of Tordesillas in 1494 divided up the New World. It created a line of demarcation right through South America. Everything west of that line went to Spain. All of the land east of the line went to Portugal, which is why in Brazil they still speak Portuguese. 1812 is when the Encomienda system was established. We will explore that later. St. Augustine is the first permanent settlement by a European country in North America, and that was in Florida. And then the English attempted colonization at Roanoke, which was on the border of present-day Virginia and North Carolina. It's referred to as the Lost Colony because when the settlers arrived there, the leaders had to go back to fight the Spanish Armada, and when they returned, they could not find any of the settlers. And then this time period ends with Jamestown, which we will not talk about today, much to the chagrin of a certain student, but we will in time period 2. So here's key concept 1.1. As native populations migrated and settled across the vast expanse of North America over time, they developed distinct and increasingly complex societies by adapting to and transforming their diverse environments. And I see that there's a mistake there, and you know that I can't have that. So, so what are some of the key themes I'd like you to know? Well, this is really about the impact of corn cultivation, maize, which was very popular in the Southwest. In this southwestern area, they developed vast irrigation systems. This allowed them to place less of an emphasis on being hunters and gatherers, where they could actually form villages and start to increase the population because they always have a constant source of food. So that's really, I should have put a heading there for the southwestern part of the continent. So now we go to the Great Plains, which is in the middle of the continent. These natives mostly lived off of hunting and gathering, did not have the same level of natural resources available to them. Most of the land was grassland. But when the horse was introduced from the Europeans, this made hunting easier, but it also made fighting easier as well. These natives were very powerful. Then we go to the northeast area, the Mississippi River Valley area, and everything across the Atlantic seaboard. And as you can see, I definitely did this quickly. So what are these societies known for? They have a mixture of hunting, gathering, as well as agricultural villages. As we all know from New York, the Iroquois was a key Native American tribe at this time, which had a matriarchal society, meaning women were the dominant force in making all of the decisions. These Native Americans adapted very much to their environment. I think that's a key theme to always be familiar with for time period 1. Burning forests and growing crops. They too built around maize cultivation. And just a little fact for you, the largest community for Native Americans was the Cahokia Indians, which were in what is present-day St. Louis. All right, now we're going to go way out to the northwest into present-day California. There were about 300,000 people that lived there before any Europeans arrived. Very wealthy families dominated this area, and they did have significant experience with military and warrior traditions. All right, and then we're going to go to key concept 1.2. Contact among Europeans, Native Americans, and Africans resulted in the Columbian Exchange and significant social, cultural, and political changes on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean. So first, let's make sure we know the reasons for European colonization, which I could have very just easily have written as the 3 G's. Gold, God, and glory. So the desire to get rich and develop in competition with the other European countries, as well as spreading Christianity, was a large motivation for the Spanish. Remember, the Spanish are the first ones from Europe that settle in North America. The Columbian Exchange impact is going to be that plants are spread, animals, humans, slavery, and diseases from one continent to another. So for the Americas to Europe and Africa, they will bring back potatoes, maize, and tomatoes. Whereas from Europe to the Americas, they will bring wheat, rice, horses, chickens, and oxen. And the overall impact, though, is that there will be a massive population growth due to these new food items. There will be an increase in wealth. You'll see a rise in capitalism in the middle class in Europe. You'll see the expansion of the slave trade from Africa, and you will see diseases going back to the Americas, as well as a distinct social hierarchy and the introduction of the horses. Okay, continuing. Let's make sure we know the encomienda system, very powerful in the 16th century. This was when the Spanish crown granted land to Spanish settlers in the Americas, but in addition to the land, they also granted them the natives who were living on the land. And in return, the settlers said that they would help Christianize these natives. But in the end result was that they forced them into slavery. The manual labor did lead to the building of roads and infrastructure, but of course, it was inhumane. And when this system dies out, it will be the labor will then be replaced by African slaves. Two leading European figures who argued about the encomienda system would be Bartolome de las Casas, who was one of the few Europeans that wanted to treat Native Americans better, argued against this system, and Juan de Sepulveda, who argued and justified the encomienda system by saying that Christianity justified slavery. And then we have technology and trade during this time. The sextant could be used to find your exact position on Earth. The caravel was a new ship introduced by the Portuguese. I don't know if you remember Prince Henry the Navigator from 7th grade, which allowed for faster travel. A compass could provide you with better efficiency. And definitely, wow, these typos are bad. As you can see, I'm off my game. The economic improvements would be not jointy, a joint stock company, which is when people would pool their resources to pay for an exploration. The positive of this is that if the exploration fails, you do not have as much of a risk, limited liability. So that's the best I can do. I still need to read Alan Taylor's book all about the early colonization of the Americas, and then I will become far more knowledgeable. But for now, I wish you the best of luck. I think that should cover the main topics, and have a great whatever time it is for you.